Let's bring in now Sarah McNamara, who's the Chief Executive of the Australian Energy Council. She joins us live from Melbourne. Good to talk to you again, Sarah. I just wonder if off the top you would give us your description of the current energy situation. I call it a crisis confronting the country.
Oh, thank you. Look, we wouldn't call it, well, it's a potential crisis, I suppose, but it's not a systemic market failure as such. What we're dealing with in the energy market, like any difficult situation, it's not the result of one contributing factor. There are a number of factors at play here that have all happened at once. And some of those factors are transient and will be overcome in pretty short order. Others are longer term issues that we're going to need to grapple with. But in terms of issues, I mean, on the short term domestic front, we've probably got insufficient onshore gas development happening in this country, so gas reserves are tight. Also, we've had some unexpected plant maintenance outages at coal plant along the east coast. That's also constrained coal supply here on the east coast. And of course, there's a global shortage of gas and coal thanks to Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, which is also unhelpful. And then we are at the moment in winter in a seasonal time when renewables tend not to produce quite as much as we'd like them to. So all of these factors have put upward pressure on the wholesale market price and we're grappling with the impacts of that now.
Is it going to get worse before it gets better?
Well, in some respects, it might get a little bit better in a couple of months' time as coal plant, their maintenance processes start being resolved and the coal plant comes back online. That should improve matters. I know ministers are meeting this afternoon to see if there are any policy levers they can pull that might improve the situation, although none of the likely policy levers they have at their disposal will result in short-term relief. Really, though, we're going to need to ride this one out, and fortunately, most of the market is contracted and retailers do hedge their risks to protect customers from the full force of the wholesale market price spikes.
You talk about government levers, though, but it's exactly government levers that have led us to be in this precarious position. When you talk about problems with domestic gas supplies, we've had state governments, Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, Liberal and Labor, knock back proposals for exploration and development of gas resources in various states. But of course, more importantly, we've had our emissions reductions policies directly trying to force out coal-fired generation. And then suddenly we say, hang on, we haven't got enough reliable, dispatchable generation.
Well, here at the Energy Council, we are strong supporters of Australia's net zero by 2050 goal. And really the electricity market is in a transition to 2050, which does involve the inevitable retirement of coal plant. In every case, we believe, at an earlier stage than was originally predicted. That's not a good or a bad thing. That's part of the transition we're in. We are moving to a lower emissions profile, and that's got enormous community support. But
just, could I just interrupt? We all know about that support in 2050 and all that, but the point is, if you're forcing coal-fired generation out before there's other generation to replace it, that's why we end up in a problem like this.
Oh, and that's exactly the point. We are keen to ensure that coal stays in the system for only as long as it needs to be there to provide the dispatchable capacity we need whilst we're still in the process of developing sufficient flexible, variable renewable generation.
But isn't that too late already? Haven't we forced out too much coal already? We've only got 25% share of renewables and we've got this sort of crisis in front of us. How on earth are we going to cope when we've got 50%, 70%, 80% renewables?
Well, we won't be getting to those figures for quite some time, and the point is the system is coping at the moment. The scarcity of coal and gas globally is a driving force in the pressures in the market at the moment.
But we're energy rich.
The market operator, well, yeah, that's true. We are rich in both fossil fuel and renewable generation sources. But here, domestically, we've got state and federal governments working with the market operator and the industry on solutions to keep the lights on for Australian homes and businesses. And to date, that has been done successfully, and we expect that hard work will continue to make sure we are stabilising the system as we move through this energy transition.
Just very quickly, of course, people are going to see this reflected in their power bills, and also the season in this country where we have the highest demand on energy is in summer. So how are we looking for the year ahead?
Well, we're hopeful that the wholesale market price will be able to be stabilised somewhat as the year progresses, and of course many people have solar panels on their roofs which they call on during the warmer summer months, which puts downward pressure on their bills. But the real message for consumers is that they should make sure they're on the best energy market deal for their circumstances, and to do that they really should call their retailer, make sure they're on the cheapest deal, and also think about energy efficiency measures and whether it's worthwhile installing solar panels or a home battery to help put downward pressure on the bill.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah. I don't envy the task ahead.
Thank you.